Hi, I'm Helena. Welcome to the channel. This channel is dedicated to talk about things Elena's business. If you want to own a bakery, do a food truck, open an ice cream shop, if you want a little Japanese place, if you want a little restaurant, a bakery, goods of any kind, if you want to start an online business, anything to do with food. Or not, just a little business. You need some help? This is pretty general stuff. And it covers a lot of different sectors, a lot of small business in a lot of different fields. The topic is why people go out of business. Why do we care about that? We haven't even delved into the steps, because you want to familiarize yourself in all aspects of the business. You want to familiarize yourself. And that way, once you familiarize yourself with, the kind of risks, the positives, the negatives, then you can kind of have a better overall understanding of what you're getting into and the pitfalls that come when you are in them. So, let's talk about it. What ruins businesses? Okay. Well, right off the get-go, it's no financing. The bank doesn't give you money. Before you even began, you don't get your money. Usually it's because you don't have the money, so you don't have your 20% or whatever the investment companies want from you, your end of the deal, which is usually money. The other thing is you don't have, you're by yourself. You're going for a divorce, you're some life change, and you're like, diarrhea to the bank. Don't do that. Write it in your business plan as though you're, there's a few people working, even if you don't plan that. Just do that. I'm not saying lie, because you will end up hiring people, but you're not always going to have hired help. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. Okay. Depends what type of business you are as well. There's a section on business plan. Go look for that, and that will help you out a lot. Wastefulness. Wastefulness is another one. How do you get, how does wastefulness ruin your business? I had this guy work for me, and he would waste a lot. So whenever he made anything, he would get the sheet of paper, parchment paper this big to do any kind of job. And you think, oh, it's not a big deal. Or the squeeze pipes they would throw out. Oh, it's not a big deal. Wasteful, wasteful, wasteful. When you're in small business, there is no waste. Everything is used. You cannot waste. Cannot waste. You will go out of business real fast. Parchment paper is 70 cents a piece. You can't just, give it out and waste it and use whatever. No, work out your system so you don't need it, or if you do need it, it's specialized for that and you're going to get paid somehow in the product. You don't just roll out using parchment paper. Roll out using flour. Roll out using cold dough. You don't need anything with cold dough. Learn how to do things properly so there's no waste. Waste will hurt you. The other one is bad spending. Too much spending. Kind of like waste, but it's different. It's too much spending. So you may have two lines. You may have the fastest internet. You're like, what's the big deal? It's only $30 more a month. It all adds up. It all adds up. 30 here, 50 here, 40 here. It all adds up. All of a sudden you got $200 more a month. It's a headache. That's a car payment. That's a bill. you know, you need 2 lines. No, I don't. I don't need 2 lines. Just the bare minimum of everything to conduct business. If you're sitting there and you're making a lot of money, that's different. Then add things, be luxurious. Otherwise, you don't need any of it. Do you need the TV in the corner? Do you? Do you need that? Do you need that? Probably not. Do you need that fancy? This one woman, I was helping her in her business, and I came to help her. And I walked into her business, and she had like couches everywhere and this and this. She'd only started the business. She'd only start the business like a few months, and she had all this stuff like she'd been in business. Does that help you conduct your business? I need it all. I need all of this. Do you? Do you need all of that? Do you need all of that? When I first began, I didn't have like 20 mixers. People come in, I have 4 mixers, 4 little ones. I had 6 and then 2 broke. 4 little ones. So sometimes you'll have 1 or 2 people wait for a mix-up. So wait. I'm not spending another $800, $1,000. Why? Why do that? It's very wasteful. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't. It's very wasteful. So, yeah, you don't, it's wasteful spending. Wasteful and spending. Too much spending. Too much. We all feel like we have to be like cheesecake. I was told by a woman who was in business in Chicago, and she said, you're going to need about $500,000 to start, and you're going to need to be all this and this and this, and you're going to need this and this and this. Rubbish. She didn't know. She bought her business of someone else. So she was doing business, but she didn't really know. She just accepted whatever was given and then conducted business and just left it there. She didn't think for herself. She didn't create the business. So she didn't know what you really, 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 really need. So she was using everything she had because she had paid for it. But when you're starting out, do you have $500,000? Who gave you $500,000? Give it to me. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You don't need all that. I went into the Cheesecake Factory and I went, it looks like a little palace in there. People said, you have to be like the Cheesecake Factory. No, you don't. You don't. I went to Paris and I wrote down all the Parisian best patisseries, pastry shops. And I spent a whole day or 2 or 3 going around and walking and finding them and eating at them. They were fancy. They were so fancy, some of them just had a handful of food. Like, almost like, in like secret key kind of domes. So stupid. But that's how they do business. They were wanting to communicate this. We do only a handful of tarts and we're exclusive. Don't touch. And maybe it provided cool air or something to the tarts, like a little mini fridge. And it gave the effect. You want this? And it was in the fancy part of Paris. Fancy. Yeah. Don't be wasteful. You don't need any of that. What I learned from that is you just need a little place, just a little place that allows you to do what you do best. That's it. Wastefulness. Wastefulness also includes the space. How much space do you need? Do you need 1,400? I have 1,400. You don't need 1,400. I conduct classes and I have a pastry shop and I make everything from scratch. You don't need 1,400. You don't need 1,300. You don't need 1,200. You don't need 1,100. You need 8, 9, 1,000 at most. That's it. Honestly. Go with your stuff way down. And I was stupid. I was just like, yes, give me, please. Just give me a spice so I can conduct it. I was desperate. When you're desperate, you accept anything. You don't negotiate. You don't care. Take your time, especially if you're starting out. Take your time and say, I want this space. Just trust me. It's the difference between having business and not having business. And if I didn't have my rent so much, I would fly. An extra $2,000, $3,000 a month. Wow, what could I do with that? It's a pay. Yeah, wasteful, wasteful, wasteful. Negotiate, speak up for yourself. I don't need that space. To the rental company, I don't need that space. I don't need that space. Give me something smaller. What's the smallest space you've got? And work with it. Now, there are some laws you can't have too small of a space because, you need to bake, you need to cook, but you just need a little space. You need a little kitchen. There was a crepe lady over here. Before she came, there was a little cupcake place. And when I was looking for spaces, I looked. Her kitchen was little. It was as little as most people's bathrooms. Okay, 2 bathrooms put together. It was small. She got the job done, and then she had all this sitting area. You never saw anyone sit there. People don't get a cupcake and sit. Nobody sits. Don't waste your money. She went out of business. Why? Of course. You just walk in and see. She didn't need all that space. That space was wasteful and got her out of business. That's it. Yeah. Wasteful, wasting money, spending, blah, blah, blah. You're bringing in this much, but going out that way is like, way more. No, he'll get you out of business real quick. Common sense. On the topic of money, not juggling your money. Some months are going to be really good, really good. Some months are going to be, oh, please, Jesus, help me kind of months. Real slow. And you just allocate for those months. You prepay your rent early. When in the good months, you just pay more extra for a month or 2 ahead. Just do it. You got to juggle your money. If you got a credit card, oh my God. Credit cards are good when times are bad, but they're not good because they get you into debt and you spend too much, and they're not good. For the first, believe it or not, for the first 7 years, no, for the first 8, 9 years, I did not have a credit card. I juggled like a professional. I did not have a credit card. I refused to have a credit card. I love the credit card because I can accumulate points, but I did not have a credit card. But I'm in, I have moments where I get into a lot of debt. Something happens, I get into a lot of debt. Where before I just made it work. 10 years, made it work. I was a good juggler of money. If you don't juggle your money, you'll go out of business. Sometimes, where are you going to get it from? Is it going to fall from the sky? Is your mama going to give it to you? Where are you going to get your money? You got to juggle it. Stress gets you out of business in the first year. Some people don't understand the level of stress a business has. Sometimes it could be people come for you and it's just a lot. Sometimes it could be it's stressful on your marriage. Sometimes it could be just juggling stress, full stop. Just juggling stress. Just juggling it. Sometimes it could be, a good example is paying the taxes. I would shake every time I got a tax bill. Every time I had to do something related, and my monthly, I had to do it. I knew I had to pay my meals tax and sales tax and withholding tax and work or whatever, wage. I'd have to pay it. And I'd shake through the whole process. It would give me so much anxiety. And I think the day I quit, thank you, Jesus, it would be phenomenal. Just on eliminating that. I think I'm going to dream taxes. Taxes stress you out. When I used to get a tax bill every month, you owe $10, you paid it late. Because my accountant and my bookkeeper, who was terrible, never did it. Just worked whenever he wanted. Whenever he wanted, he worked, and he never did it. And I had to pay the price. $10 every month times 10 years. How much does he owe me? It's my fault. I allowed that. Terrible. Terrible. The government doesn't care. Now it's in system. I have to pay an accountant to look at my withholding and say, is this being paid automatically? Oh, yes, because the government, their law is shifty. They well, they're not shifty. They're like, if you make under a certain amount, they say you got to pay it every 3 months. If you make over a certain amount, you got to pay it monthly. So, of course, business is business. I'm not that phenomenal. It goes up and down, so I'm constantly changing. I got to keep up. Anxiety. Well, that gets to you after a while. After a while, that gets to you, and you're like, get me out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. It's stressful. Tax is stressful. I feel like if people give up, it's tax related first. And then it's money, and then it's wastefulness. Tax first, because it's a lot. There's a lot coming at you. That's why I started this channel. I said, if I can help a handful of people not to get anxiety and traumatized by the taxation system, I'm going to heaven. You're in a small community. People feel like they have power over you. They can ruin you. So when I got here, I decided to close myself off. I didn't want to be too nice to people. There was a wall up. I didn't allow people to video. I just wanted to keep the separation with people. You want stuff, come and buy it. Otherwise, I'm good. I'm not going to hold myself out there. And look at this now. Now I'm like really bleh. You just come face around. It's karma. Karma comes face around, and you say, you know what? I'm not going to live my life in fear anymore because some people. I got to live the way I want to live. So don't take anything personal. Protect yourself against Karens and crazy people. And just because they think that, or a couple of their friends come in and question me or judge me, or someone online, they're a bunch of haters. Haters. Just ignore haters. But yeah, that's enough for most people to walk away. There was one lady in Chesapeake, and she had a deli, and apparently got too much for her. People were really mean to her, and it got too much. Again, small community mentality can be really rough because people see you as a snobby, rich, blah, blah, blah. She thinks she's better than us. Who are her rules? You know, you collide with one person and they're a nasty pasty, and they spread the rumors. And it's a small community, so, it's really hard. People misjudge you. So, yeah. Next, we talked about taxes, missing taxes. That can accumulate if you've had a heavy tax bill. You got to pay it. Don't play with the tax man. Don't play with the tax man. Just pay it. You collected the taxes. It's not like you're doing something extra and the government's stealing from you. You collected the taxes. Now you got to pay them. You collect them in sales, meals tax, you got to pay them. And the corporate taxes and all the other taxes and your personal income tax, well, welcome to the world. That's how we do. Welcome to the matrix, baby. Just pay your taxes. Get rid of your headaches. Overwhelmed. Sometimes it's through aggressive people. Sometimes it's paying the taxes. Sometimes the money doesn't come in and you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed by the workload. You're overwhelmed. That can take you out. Like that lady, she had enough of people being mean. She just didn't even give anyone notice. She just closed the door. Her neighbor's like, where is she? I don't know where she is. She just closed. She had a bad day, and that was the rest of it. And of course, an easy one. Once you're in neck deep, you realize you don't have a life. You realize you don't have family time. You realize you don't have time to go and watch your kids' recitals because that's the day that you're working. You realize that you don't have Saturdays and Sundays with your kids. You realize that this and this and this. You realize that. You realize these things. You realize that. So, you know, you like, I'm good. I'm out. I'm good. I'm out. Freedom. You don't have any freedom. There's no freedom. Yeah. So these are the things that knock a business out in the first year. Maybe if it didn't knock you in the first year, it will in the second. If it didn't in the second, it will in the third. If you've made it by the second or third, you're in a groove, you know? You're getting along. And then it's just personal reasons, you know? Sometimes, you know, you do go up and down, like COVID. COVID knocked out a good many people, a good many small businesses. And the only reason I hung around, honestly, is because I delivered. I would deliver everybody. Wherever you were, I'll drive up there and deliver. I didn't charge you for delivery, I just come in and deliver it. It's terrible. But I did. Just to pay my bills. I hated it because of just thinking someone's dog's gonna hurt me. Terrible. I don't know how UPS guys do it. Oh my God, hats off to you guys. So, yeah. Hope this helps.